getting it right away. Doubles is an aggressive game.
The world-famous teacher of the pros, Dennis Vandermeer, has taught millions of people to play tennis. Here at Hilton Head, South Carolina, and around the world, he has instructed more than 5,000 teaching professionals.
I want to be sure that you are serving, coming in and volleying, and I want to be sure that you are returning, coming in and volleying. Go.
He teaches a standard method of tennis, which has become recognized worldwide, and is a method in which 4,000 tennis teachers have been certified by the United States Professional Tennis Registry. No matter what your age or level of experience, his method of teaching in progressive steps will greatly improve your stroke production. This clear, basic approach enables players of all degrees to fine-tune their game and correct nagging errors.
Andy, I think that may be the solution to our problem, you know.
The 3 tapes in this series, Tape 1, the basic game, Tape 2, the attacking game, and Tape 3, the tactical game, will give you the competitive edge.
Hello, I'm Dennis Vandermeer, and in this tape, I'm going to show you some specialty shots. I'm going to show you the drop shot, the topspin lob, the overhead smash, and how you can use all these strokes to help you develop winning tactics. Tactics for singles and tactics for doubles to make you a complete tennis player. In Chapter 1, I'm going to show you that essential stroke, the half volley. In Chapter 2, you will learn how to play the overhead smash. Your opponent lobs and you put the ball away. In Chapter number 3, you're going to learn that shot that you've admired so much among the pros, the topspin lob. In Chapter number 4, I'm going to show you how to pass your opponent up at net with a buggy whip shot. In Chapter number 5, I'm going to show you how to use a drop shot when you maneuver your opponent out of the court. In Chapter number 6, you're going to learn singles tactics. You're going to learn how to understand percentages, when to defend and when to attack. In Chapter number 7, you're going to learn winning tactics for doubles. You're going to learn how to position yourself properly, where to stand. You're going to learn the percentages of attacking doubles and why you must play the nets. In Chapter number 8, you will learn the importance of the mental side of the game. When you start playing a bit more aggressive tennis, you're going to find yourself caught halfway. From the baseline, you're on your way to the net to attack, and when you get halfway here, that's when your opponent returns the ball. And that's when you find the ball at your feet. So when you get here, you need to be able to play a half volley. This is what it looks like. It's a very special stroke. The timing is as the ball hits the ground, the very next moment you have to hit the ball. Try and get the timing. Now, how to learn it. I'm going to show you a little trick. First of all, just get the timing right. Try to catch the ball. As the ball comes at you, just try to catch the ball. If you can't catch the ball, don't be embarrassed. Just bump the ball with your hand then. Get the timing right. Bounce, bump. Bounce, bump. No backswing. The same thing with the racket in your hand. Hold the racket in your hand and just time it as the ball bounces and touches the ground. That's when you touch it with the racket. And this is the second step to learning a half volley. And the final step, nothing more to it except add a follow through. And there you have, almost instantaneously, a forehand half volley. Same on the backhand side. Just hold your hand here, bump the ball. Hold your hand here, bump it with your racket. And now, a backhand half volley with your racket following through. And when you add the half volley to your game, you'll have no fear on your way to the net to make that winning volley. So there you have an overhead smash. Now, what are the ingredients of a good overhead? The first thing you must know is instinct is bad when it comes to an overhead smash. The instinctive thing to do when you play is to first move your racket. So you're facing the net, and then the ball comes, then you move your racket and you stumble back, and the result is predictable that you are not going to hit it with control or with pace. No, the first thing to do to hit a good overhead is take your right foot and step backwards. And what does that do for you? It turns you sideways. Once you are sideways, now you get your racket ready, and as you get your racket ready, you extend your left arm. You are now balanced. From this balanced position, you can move and adjust to where the ball is going to come. And once you've sighted the ball, you set yourself and you stroke the ball with a smooth follow through. Step back, get the racket ready, extend the left arm, adjust the feet, set, and a smooth follow through on the overhead smash. Set up at net, turn, racket ready, left hand up, set the feet, and follow through. Now that would be an overhead that you could reach fairly easily. But what do you do if the ball's over your head? Now there are two ways to get back. There's a third way, but that's the one we won't use. We're not going to do this one. Remember, this one is no good. We're going to throw that one out. The two accepted techniques would be this. You could kind of have a shuffle step. You could kind of shuffle back like this to get to a ball that's over your head. Another way to do it would be to kind of run like a crab. You could use this technique. Either one is acceptable, and you choose the one that suits you best. I'll demonstrate the first one first. Shuffle, 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 and then play the overhead. If you feel a little bit more athletic and you want to try the crab jump, it would look like this. You run like a crab, get set, jump, and play the overhead. And that would be a jump overhead. There's one other kind of overhead smash, and that is when the ball has been lobbed very high and has almost a vertical descent. In that case, what you should do is let the ball bounce. Now here it's important to realize that when the ball comes down towards the ground, it's going to hit the ground and it's going to rebound, but though it looks as if it was a vertical descending ball, it comes down at an angle. And remember, a little bit of high school physics, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So though it may appear as if the ball is descending vertically, be careful. The ball is going to rebound over your head. A lot of people make this mistake. The ball comes high and they go, so here's the ball, and they go stand with, and now they're in for a big surprise. The ball rebounds over their head. The trick is to stand back well behind the spot where the ball bounces. So here comes the ball, high in there, I move back way behind the ball, and now the rebound is exactly where I can reach it comfortably. Very important part of learning how to play an overhead smash after the bounce. So they have three kinds of overheads. First of all, the stationary overhead, where all you did was to get ready with a sideways body position, balanced, adjusting your feet to set yourself and hit a nice, comfortable overhead smash. The jump overhead, first with a shuffle positioning of the feet, and the same one using the crab footwork. And then the last kind of overhead, the one where the ball bounces. Get well back behind the ball, and it bounces up to where you can reach it comfortably and stroke it with a smooth follow through. Work on your overhead. Get a good overhead, and you'll have no fear being up at net. How many times have you seen tournament players play a match, one player is up at net, and the ground stroker cannot pass the fellow up at net, and all of a sudden, he digs into his arsenal of strokes, and he plays this tremendously tricky little topspin lob. And the crowd oohs and ahs. And you may say, well, this obviously is a stroke that only very, very good players can use. Not true. I can teach you very quickly how to add a topspin lob to your own game. Here are the simple steps you would go through. The first one is just to understand the principle of topspin. You take a tennis ball and you put it against the net band. Now, you brush up very sharply behind the ball, and you can actually see the spin of the ball. You can actually see how the ball spins. You can see the spin of the ball. Now, you back up just a little bit, and you drop the ball on the ground, and you brush up sharply again, and finish behind your back. Now, you open the racket face, and by doing this, you'll get a much higher trajectory. Same movement, brush and finish behind your back. And now the last step, you have a partner who feeds the ball to you, and up and over the head it goes. Now, when you play a match, and you've got an opponent up at net, and you cannot pass him, all you do is hook one up and over his head, and now you'll be the one that the crowd oohs and ahs over. Good players have more than speed and power at their command when they play tennis. They also have touch and finesse. And there's no stroke that is more enjoyable than a sharply angled little cross-court shot past the net player. Now it's called a buggy whip, and that's what it looks like. A diabolical little shot, isn't it? Now it looks very difficult, but isn't that tough to learn? As a matter of fact, remember when we did the topspin lob earlier, it's exactly the same kind of a shot. Let me show you the similarities. When we started off, to understand topspin, we just put the ball against the net, and we brushed up very sharply towards the sky, and that's what gave us the topspin. Now, if I would do the same thing and just would drop the ball on the ground, again, you can see the spin of the ball. Now, if I would do the same thing again, but this time, would just meet the ball a little bit further out in front, I would get that sharp angle. And now in real life, here comes the ball from the other side. Sharply, little hook shot like this, called the buggy whip. Add this stroke to your own game, and you'll be the most hated player at your tennis club. How many times have you been in a rally where you've played the ball deep to the opponent's backhand and you pulled him out wide on his forehand side, and then if you had a delicate little drop shot there that your opponent has no chance to get? Now, the drop shot is a part of every good player's game, and I'm going to show you today how to learn one. Actually, you already have one without knowing it. If you know how to play a volley, you also know the drop shot. For the volley, all you do is set your racket. The ball comes, and you just bump it back out of the air. The same stroke, you play the same shot, but this time the ball has bounced. Exactly the same thing, the ball has bounced, and there you have a delicate little drop shot. One more time. Set for a volley, and bump it. No need to think of hippity-dippity moves. Some players think they have to, like, oh, I'm trying for touch. You don't need all that stuff. Set it for a volley, the ball bounces, and lightly over the net. You add the drop shot to your game, and you'll be one notch higher as a tennis player. Beautiful. You've just seen two very good tournament players playing a few points using exactly the tactics that tournament players would use. The server got his first serve in on the first point. He took command of the point. He came to the net, played a forceful volley, and then put the ball away with a winning overhead smash. On the second point, the server missed his first serve. The receiver right away sensed a weaker second serve. He attacked, and he came to the net, and he put the ball away. And these are the tactics of tournament tennis. Now, many people have a misconception about tactics. A lot of people think tactics mean hit the ball hard. Now, that is totally a misconception. Hitting the ball hard and not being able to rally means you are never going to be able to play good tennis. People who just hit the ball as hard as they can and who don't know where the ball goes, they may have a lot of fun in exercising their muscles, but they're not really playing tennis. Until such time as you can actually control the ball, you are not employing the first basic tactic in tennis. The first tactic in tennis is this: keep the ball in play. You have to be able to rally. Just keep the ball going. Now, once you can keep the ball going, you can start adding another dimension to your game. Learn to direct the ball a little bit from side to side. To the player's forehand, and then play the ball to the opponent's backhand, and then play the player's forehand. And this would be the second dimension of a tennis player. Once you can do that, you control the depth of the ball. Hit the ball short, hit the ball deep at will, a short ball. And now play a deep shot to your opponent. And now maybe give him another short ball or a wide one, and you can win the point. You are now growing tactically as a tennis player. You now have the tools to become more experienced. Now, once you can do that, you should start using some spin and speed. All right? And this will give you the chance, by using spin and speed, maybe use some top spin. And now, maybe use a slice. And that slice will give you the chance to come to net and maybe make a winning volley. You are now growing tactically as a tennis player. The correct sequence of tactics in tennis should always be: number one, control the ball. Get a rally going. Once you can rally, direct the ball from side to side. And then you control the depth. Hit a short ball, hit a deep ball. Then you add speed and spin. And then when you get a short ball from your opponent, now you can take that short ball and you can come to net behind it. Ideally, it would be preferable when you get the short ball to hit it down the line. If you hit the ball down the line, it means you are well positioned. If I play this ball down the line and my opponent returns the ball, these are the possible angles my opponent has. Now look, my opponent has just returned the ball. Now look what happens. I have to cover the line over here, and I have to cover the passing shot over here. Now it may appear as if I'm giving preference to the down the line shot. But you can see, if you were to draw a line from the corner of the singles court over there and the baseline to the far corner over there, and you would have another line drawn down this side over here, you can see I'm bisecting the angle of the possible returns. So if my opponent, if John, hits the ball cross court, all I have to do is take one step across and I can reach the ball. If he hits the ball down the line, the same thing is true, one step over here and I can reach the ball. So the key in good approach shots is this, that what you want to do is bisect the angle. So remember, you don't go to the middle of the court. If you go over here, look, my opponent has a very, very easy passing shot. I ought to be lined up behind the ball. If I line myself up behind the ball, Now I have the best chance to cut off the volley. Now, where to put the ball? All right, I'm going to tell you a fact and an absolute. Whenever you have a chance to make a winning shot, always hit the ball cross court, away from your opponent. If my opponent is down the line there, and I get a ball on my forehand side, there's only one shot I'm going to play. I'm going to play the ball cross court for a winning shot. My opponent has no chance. So remember this very carefully. You always hit the ball to the open court when you can make a winning shot. What happens if my opponent runs for the ball? If my opponent starts to run for the ball, I don't care. He can run. It doesn't matter to me. Why should I, because he starts to run for the ball, why should I worry about him? If I can make a winning shot, I make a winning shot. I don't have to, because he starts to run, I don't have to change my mind. I don't have to go for heaven's sake, to try and hit behind him. I have no reason to do that. I'm going to win the point in any case. As an intermediate player, even though you cannot make a winning volley, still go cross court. And the reason is this: intermediates don't run too well to the ball. So now, although I can't make a winning shot, I still go cross court. And my opponent is going to make a mistake 9 times out of 10. And now this is the difference between the tactics of intermediate and advanced players. Intermediates, you always go cross court. Winning volleys, always go cross court, and even those you cannot win, because you will win 9 out of 10 shots, because intermediates don't play well when they're on the run. Now, what is the difference when you start dealing with advanced players? In this case, I would not play the ball cross court if I am not sure I can win the point. Why? Because, have a look. Advanced players have very good feet and very good control over the ball. If you play the ball cross court against an advanced player, they run the ball down, and now they've got a tremendous angle on you, and they win the point outright. Now comes the second element. Now, I told you, you always hit a winning ball cross court. And intermediate players, you hit every ball cross court, because remember, beginners or intermediates don't run very well for the ball. When you start playing advanced tennis, the tactics become more than just one of angles. Now you have to think about a little bit of judgment. If I'm not sure whether I can win the point or not, what should I do? What I ought to do now is not hit the ball where my opponent has an angle on me. What I should do is keep the ball right in front of me. So what I'm going to do now is, my opponent gives me a tough shot. I don't think I can win the point. I hit the ball right back to my opponent. I still have position on the court, you see, and I'll repeat the same situation time and again until such time as I get one that sits up a bit and I can make my winning shot. And this is the difference between advanced tennis and intermediate tennis. Judgment. Now, here you have typically example of how a player would set himself up at net to get the best advantage. Now, what about the player on the other side? If you are dealing with intermediate tennis, what should my opponent be doing now? The player on the baseline should, the moment I'm about to play my volley, he should start running for the ball. Why? Well, the first thing he does is he puts pressure on me. He runs for the ball because I see him running and I say, "Ooh," and I try to hit the ball with a lot more pace than is necessary, and I'm likely to make mistakes. And if he gets there, well, maybe the odds are such that he may make a couple of points in any case. For advanced players, that would be a bad tactic. Now we should start talking about percentages in tennis. Now let's look at what percentage tennis looks like. If I'm playing against John, and John starts to run for the ball, let's look at what his percentages are. John starts the ball to me. Now watch the first thing. He runs like the devil. He didn't get to the ball. So tactically, let's just analyze the percentages. 1-love to Dennis, okay? Now, the next one, let's see, maybe he can get there. Let's see what happens this time. I play cross court, he ran for the ball. 1-all, looking better for John. Let's continue. What are my other options? He starts to run right away. A delicate little drop shot. Bad luck, John Hill. 2-1 to Dennis. What are my other options? He starts to run down the line. Wrong-footed him. 3-1 to Dennis. 1 to John Hill. What are my other options? A little drop shot right there. 4-1, Dennis winning the match. Now you can see that unless John changes his tactics at this stage, he is going to have a very poor end result. Now, if you were John Hill's coach, how would you remedy the situation? He's losing 4 points for every 1 point he wins. Let's try percentage tennis. John, this time, when I've made my approach shots down the line, all I'd like you to do is set up and don't go anywhere. Let's see what happens now. Good, now just set up there. Now let's look at the options. First one, here comes the ball, and I play my winning shot, and John has no chance. 1-love, Dennis van der Meer. So maybe percentages are not that good for John. Let's look at the next possibility. A little drop shot. 2-love, Dennis van der Meer. I like it. His coach is not doing too well. Now let's look at the third possibility. This time I don't make a winning shot. Oh, for heaven's sake. He can run it down. 2-1. Well, still no problem. I think I'll wrong foot him. But there he was, just waiting for me. Now the score is 2-all. Well, I've got one option left. Maybe I can play a little delicate little drop shot right in front of him. Disaster. 3-2. Look at the complete change of results. It was 4-1 in my favor when John ran for the ball immediately after setting himself playing the passing shot down the line. And then we changed these percentages totally when he set himself up and didn't move and just waited for me to play the shot. And this is how percentage tennis works. I'm going to give you another example of it, a very easy example. Say, for instance, I had an opponent who has a devastating winning shot on a short ball. Now have a look and let's see what I'm talking about. John is devastating whenever he gets a short ball. Let's have a look how it works out. As long as I rally the ball deep, we have a good game. He can't hurt me. And then I hit the ball a bit short. Good shot. And that happens to me all the time. We rally again. As long as we rally, I'm in good shape. I go short. He wins 100% of the points. Now, my odds are very bad. As long as I can keep the ball deep, I'm in good shape. The moment I go short, he wins 100% of the points. Now, I'm going to have to think of a new tactic to change my percentages. I think what I'm going to do, well, what would be a good tactic? I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess where he hits the ball. Let's see what that does for me. We rally. I'm in good shape. I get a short ball. He gets a short ball. I guess this side. I feel like a fool. All right, well, I'll guess again. I'll guess another time. Short ball, but this time I guess it's, and he goes there, and wonderful. I have just changed the odds. Now it is no longer 100% for John Hill. It is now 50-50. Now, you armchair coaches, what would you recommend to John to change the tactics one more time to give him the odds in his favor? Let's see what he thinks of. Let's see what John does. What did he do there? He added a drop shot to his game. Now, he has given me 3 different choices. I can either go to the forehand, to the backhand, or I have to go for a drop shot. Look at the percentages now. 66 2/3 to John, and 33 1/3 to me. Dramatic. Number 1, he was winning 100% of the points. I changed it. I made it 50-50, and by John, again changing his tactics, he gave himself a 2-to-1 advantage over me. And that is percentage tennis. And that is the key in understanding tactics. Find a way to get the percentage in your favor, and you will be winning the majority of the points. Now we're going to see how to match your tactics against different kinds of opponents. We've talked about the basic tactics of singles, but how do you change your tactics for different kinds of opponents? Let's talk about the first kind of opponent. The first kind of opponent who is a pusher. Now, I'll play the role of the pusher, and Brian will be the player who is going to try and change his tactics to counteract my pushing. So, Brian, you serve, and I love to push, you see. So all Brian has to do is be a little bit patient at first. I just plop the ball back high, and all I do. And now Brian goes crazy, you see, because I just keep ladling the ball back. And now what he does, he quickly sneaks in, comes in, and now, good shot. That's one way to counteract the pusher. Another way to do it is this. Remember, pushers don't like to be up at net. Now I'll play the role, this time again, of a pusher, and Brian is going to maneuver me in such a way that I have to either take the net or run backwards. He's going to play a short angle shot. Look what happens. So I push, and again Brian is patient for a bit, and all I do is I just push the ball. I just push. Now, look what he does. A short angle. Now I have to go to the net, you see. I don't like to be in here. Oh, good shot. I don't like the net. I have one other choice. If I don't like the net, I can run backwards. Of course, if I run backwards, Brian is going to come to the net. This time again, I'm pushing, and I can be here all day. Boom! But Brian gets bored with this. And now he plays a little short angle at me. But I go back again. But now there's no way I can play a passing shot. I love the ball. And a put-away shot from Brian. When I run backwards, he knows I cannot pass him. So that's how you'd play against somebody who pushes. Now, the other kind of opponent would be if you played against someone with a heavy topspin. Now, I'm a heavy topspin player. Heavy topspin. Finally, I've got him so far back, he has no chance to get back in the court. Now watch the antidote for Brian. Brian steps in and takes the ball on the rise. And that is the answer. And he can become the attacker. Now the next player is, what do you do when you play against a very hard hitter? So I'll be the very hard hitter. Brian serves the ball, and I'm the big hitter. And I whack it. And he is always in trouble. Except what do you notice hard hitters do? Hard hitters make mistakes. What should Brian be doing? If I hit the ball that hard, stand a bit further back, Brian, and reduce the size of your backswing. Now when I whack it, it doesn't scare him. He's got all day long. You see, I whack it, and he does nothing except stand further back and play the ball with lots of time. right, and finally, I hit the ball out. And he wins the point. So that's how you would play against a hard hitter. Stand a bit further back, reduce the size of your swing. Next kind of player is, how do you play against somebody with a lot of variety in strokes? Be alert. Be very alert. That's the main thing. You can get players who have all kinds of spins. This player has a little chop shot. You have a player with a top spin shot. He's very alert. And a little drop shot. Very alert. And a lob. And he puts the ball away, and a little drop shot over there. And a little backspin over there. And a little underspin ball that goes over the net and comes back. How do you play against that? Be alert. Whenever there's backspin, the ball's going to be slow. You've got to go in against the ball. When the ball's topspin, be ready, the ball's going to kick. If you're alert, you can handle these situations. The last one is, how do you handle against a spin serve? If I have a, pass me balls, please. If I have a slice serve, let me show you what happens to a person of a slice serve. I slice the ball. See, Brian is way out of court. Now, Brian, instead of running wide, cut off the angle. Now he smacks it for a winner down the line and breaks the winner out of it. He cuts off the angle, and there's Brian's reply. That's the reply. And that is how you handle somebody who slices the ball. Now, if I had a heavy kick serve, look what Brian's going to do now. I'm going to kick the ball, and the ball will kick high up against Brian's shoulder. A high bouncing serve. Brian attacks it, comes in, and makes a put-away volley. And he becomes the aggressor, and I'm the server. And that's how you defend against the different kinds of opponents that you can expect on the tennis court. Don't get impatient. Don't try and play their game. Adjust your tactics so that you can get the best out of it. And that was an example of a good game of doubles. The first thing to see was, look where we were. When that point concluded itself, we didn't move. We just stayed right here, and you can see we were playing in the middle of the court. This is how you know that we're experienced players. You know what beginners would look like? They'd be watching the alleys. They'd be standing over here. And that's the difference. Good players play from here, the middle of the court, and bad players are concerned with the sidelines. Now, there are many types of players who spoil the game. And I'll show you who they are. I know these are nobody that you would recognize, but just in case, to typify them for you, I'll show you what they look like. The first person is Mike the Muscles. Mike the Muscles uses words like, I zing 'em pretty good, or I like to nail the ball. This is a typical Mike the Muscle tennis player. Hold it. Ah! And if he makes it, he is always very, very happy and very surprised. And if he misses it, he blames a string job. He says, a lousy string job. Now, the other type of person you have is Serene Sally. Serene Sally is the complete opposite of Mike the Muscle. Serene Sally is here to enjoy the beautiful good weather. Good shot. Oh, real good shot. Oh. Oh, that was a lovely point. Isn't it nice to have all this fun in the sun? Serene Sally, unless the ball hits her racket, she doesn't participate. Then, of course, there's Don the director. He takes over. Okay. Now, Pat, I'm going to make a return. Move it this way, this way, this way. That's it. Don't move. Half an inch this way. That's it. Hold your racket. Okay, we're ready. We're ready. Okay, go. That's it. Okay. All right. Mine. Don't play. Okay, my shot. Mine. I get it. Well, leave it. I got it. All right. Stay in the game. Leave it. Mine. Leave it. Okay. All right. Stay there. I got it. Mine. Leave it. I got it. Take it. Oh, hell. I can't take everything, you know. That's Don the director. The other type of player who spoils the game is the person who has this tremendously powerful serve that never goes in. So have a look and see how the game then turns out. There's another way to play doubles. Fault. A poopy second serve. Take this. I almost nailed her, man. Okay. Now, Pat, as you can see, John never gets a first serving. Are you going to nail it the second serve? You are? Okay, hang on. If I'm not going to play, I may as well use my time beneficially. Please, pass me a magazine. I may as well read a tennis magazine and maybe read a Vandermeer tip. If I'm not going to play, go away. Let's go. What happened? Did we win it? Oh, bad luck. Okay. Now, we better play one more. Oh, no, you need a magazine now. Because, obviously, I'm just going to wail away at the ball, too, you see. All right, so you read it. Did you miss the ball over there? You didn't see where it landed? Was it in or out, John? It was out. So, Pat, you should be reading page 22, Pat. That's the page they tell you on how to return serve. Okay, go. Blunderbuss. Waiting for poopy serve, and stick Helen. That's not the way to play doubles. That's like a hybrid kind of a singles. I play my side, the point's over, I read a magazine. Pat plays her side, the point's over, she reads a magazine. A lousy way to play doubles. I'll show you another way that doesn't make too much sense either. And this is the poopy way of playing doubles, where two players are up at net, two players on the baseline, and you find these interminable rallies going back and forth. Here comes a serve, and I just shovel it back, and I shovel it back, and then I put it overhead, and then we shovel it back again. Cross, Pat! All right. Wonderful exercise. A wonderful way to spend the afternoon out in the sun. The two net players having a great deal of exercise. Their neck muscles. They have the best two necks on the tennis court. That's all they moved. Again, a lousy way to play doubles. Let me give you a few thoughts that could change your life as a doubles player. Let's talk about the function of a server in a decent game of doubles. Now, if I'm a server in a good game of doubles, I'm going to concentrate on getting my first serving. If I can serve my first serve in the court, statistically, this means we will win 18% of the points outright. If I miss my first serve, 1%. 1% chance of winning the point. The other advantage is this, very important for my partner. If I get my first serve in, my partner could poach 70% of the time. If I get my first serve in, 70% of the time my partner could poach. But if I miss my first serve, my partner just has to stay there and cannot move. My partner is strictly an ornament now. I miss my first serve, stay there, and now comes my second serve. She is virtually a spectator. So to get your first serve in is a real important part of good doubles. Now, if I learn to follow my serve to the net. That would also change the statistic advantage that I would have to win the point. If I serve my serve in the court and I go to the net, if I make my first volley, Pat and I are likely to win 65% of the points versus 35% for our opponents. If I get the first serve in, if I move in, and if I volley this ball, if I volley that first ball, we have a 65% chance of winning the point. If I serve the ball and I don't come in, the odds are 50-50. I may as well serve underhand. If I stay back, no advantage. We are even now, it's 50-50. I'll give you even worse news. The worst news is this. If I stay back and my opponent comes in off the return and my opponent volleys the first ball, if my opponent volleys the first ball, they have the edge, 65-35 over us. They have a 65% edge over us when they come in and we don't come in. So doubles, I must come in, I must make the volley, and that is where we play doubles. Of course, remember, you don't try to win the ball outright with the first volley. Be prepared to volley twice. The first serve goes in, you move in, make your volley, close in, now you've got good positioning, and win the point on a second volley. That is the job of a server. Server's job is to cover his side, try to take the ball before the bounce, volley the first ball, close in, and finish the point. Now, the job of the service partner, my net player, all right? Let's see what Pat's job is. Pat's job is to be very alert up at net. She should always be moving, always be bothering the opponent. Every time I serve, she should take one step back and forth. If I get my first serve in, Pat should poach. That should be Pat's job. Now, if she poaches all the time, we have a very nice advantage over here. But she should also have some anticipation. If she is just going to distract my opponent and tempted to go down the line, she should go back very quickly to cover the line. She should have some anticipation now. That's it. That's the job of my partner, to be alert, to bother the opponents, either to poach or to distract them and come back and cover the alley. Now, the job of the receiver. Now remember, we already discussed some statistics. We discussed the fact that if the receiver could return the ball so it would bounce on my side before I volley the ball, the odds are 50-50. So if John can return the ball and then I have to play the ball after the bounce, he's done a tremendous job in returning serve. But if I can volley the ball, then we have this advantage. We've got a 65-35% chance. But if he can get the ball at my feet, then it's going to be different. They will have the edge. There we go. That gave them the 65-35% edge. Just the fact that John was able to put the ball at my feet. Now, the other possibility, of course, for John as a receiver is he could go down the line. This way, he could keep my partner honest, and it's a quick way to win a point. A nice shot to use, but occasional shot. Don't do it all the time. Use it sparingly, and when the occasion is there, at that time, you go for the shot. Now, there's one other shot for John, and that would be a lob. John could also lob the ball. there wasn't much I could do about that. So the lowly regarded lob is quite often an amazingly effective weapon. If a lob is not part of your own repertoire of strokes, add the lob to your game. You'll find the lob is particularly valuable in doubles when you get over the player's head. All right, now let's look at the receiver's partner. What is the job of the receiver's partner? Have a look what happens this time. Look at the point unfold. Look what happened. I served the first serve in. John made a return. Pat stepped into the middle of the court, and she punched the ball down the middle, and there was this great big gaping hole here. Now, this was the easiest shot for Pat to make. Helen, why don't you move over a bit this way? Stop right there. Now, if Pat were to make the same shot, Helen would have a chance to defend against it. It doesn't mean she'll win the point. It is known as a hot seat, because the ball can come at her feet, they can come very fast and awkwardly at her, but at least she has a chance. All right, let's try and see in real life what this would look like. Okay, she didn't win the point, but at least she had a chance. She had a chance to play the ball. Now, that's the spot for Helen to be. Now, stay right there, and let's try and play the next spot. If the ball goes to Pat, Helen is ideally placed. But look at the problem that comes about now. Helen is guarding beautifully against Pat. But look what happens if John were to hit the ball cross-court. And now look at that. I went down the line, and Helen had no chance at all. So now the problem is this. If she protects against Pat, I go down the line. But she can solve the problem. And I'll show you how she does it. We're going to give you two jobs, Helen. First thing is all you do is watch the line. And you'll be like a linesman. And then you kitty corner around and you watch Pat. And if the ball goes to Pat, of course, you'll play. Then, of course, if the ball goes cross-court, then you move in and you cover the down the line shot. Let's see how it works out for you. Beautiful. It worked out precisely as Helen had anticipated to be. She covered. First of all, she called the line. She covered for Pat. The ball came cross-court. I played the ball down the line. Boom. And now she has this great big gaping hole on our side. They figured out how to beat us now. We're going to lose every point from now on because they have found a tactic that has just stumped us. I serve. She covers there. She moves there. Covers there. They win every point. Now, what can we do to solve this problem? Now, our spectators here, you watch this. We are now losing all the points because these players have figured out a way how to cover the court. Is there anybody here who has a suggestion for us? We need some coaching. We need a coach.
Well,
You got an idea for us, Carolyn?
Pat should move back.
Listen to Carolyn. Carolyn knows everything. Carolyn says, Pat, move back. Come move to this spot over here. Now, look at this. When Helen goes over here, Pat has covered Helen's best shot. Let's see what it looks like in real life. And of course, did you notice how Pat moved into position, and now she was able to play the ball. So look what happens in reality, is there's a constant movement now. Move that ball, please. There's constant movement. In good doubles, look what you'll see all the time. I serve the ball. John hits the ball cross-court. Where do you go, Helen? Over there. Pat, where do you go? Right. Now I play the ball cross-court. Catch the ball, John. Right. See where they go? Now John needs the ball cross court. That's how you cover the ball. And this kind of maneuvering that you see going on back and forth, that is position play in doubles. And this is how two good doubles players complement each other. The next shot we should talk about is a little bit how to cover the lob. Now, let's see what happens if we get a lob from our opponents. Now, you may have heard this truism. When people lob you, get your own shots. Now, that would be okay. If Pat were Fleming and I were McEnroe, I'd come in and say, get your own lobs. We are just ordinary mortal people. If the ball goes over Pat's head, she's going to say to me, yours. And I'll run back and get the ball. And she has to do something, though, to help cover the court. Now, look and see what Pat does. All right, I'll get it, Pat. That was beautiful. Pat went exactly to the right place. She is so experienced as a player. She knew exactly to go into the hot seat over here. Now, I will show you what people do who are not experienced as Pat. Look what they do. Look what people do who are not as experienced as Pat. Look where they go. Do you see the difference?
That's what I do.
That's what people do. People cross over. Crossing over is no good. You have to do what a player with Pat's experience just showed you there. She actually went to the hot seat. Let's repeat the correct one more time, just to make it sink in a bit better. And I close in and whammo.
Bravo.
And that is a very important clue in good doubles. Pat, what should you say immediately when the ball goes over your head?
It's yours.
But don't hesitate. The moment the ball comes, it's yours. You can't go, oh, yours. By that time, the ball's gone. So the first word out of your mouth is what?
Yours.
But remember, not when you're playing singles, okay? All right. Now, let's talk about one more dimension of good doubles, and that is communications. Communication between two players. Pat and I are a doubles team, and how do we talk with each other? We talk to each other with hand signals. Pat, give me a signal that you would use if you were to poach. That would be your poaching signal. Now give me the signal you would use if you were to fake it, to make it look as if you're going to give a poach, but you actually would stay in one place. All right, I have the signals. Now, Pat, give me the signal you're going to use. Okay, let's see how that signal works out for us. Beautiful. We'll do it one more time. Beautiful. Pat gave me the signal she was going to poach, went across, and cut off the ball. Well, we'll do some more of these. It's a nice way to win a point. All right, I got my signal again. Oh, for heaven's sake, what would happen that time? They must have read our signal, or Pat may have gone too early, and Helen went down the line and won the point. Now, what is our antidote? I'm going to show you our antidote. Look what we do this time. What happened was this. Pat moved across. I knew about the signal, and I came in behind her, and though John went down the line, we covered it perfectly. So there you have a very nice set of doubles tactics. There you have all the ingredients of a good game of doubles. Get your first serve in. Remember, there's nothing worse than playing tennis with somebody who never gets a first serve in. After your serve, go to the net and make your first volley. Play the ball down the middle. Keep it low. Remember, if you get lobbed, you don't become a spectator. Go back into the hot seat. Communicate with your partner. Give hand signals. And if you follow all these rules of good doubles, well, if you still lose, the other guys must be cheating.
There are really three basic areas that we're going to look at today of training. The first is working with the physical presence of the player, the physical body itself, to help control how an athlete is feeling during play. The second area is to work with how they're thinking. We know that their thinking patterns clearly affect their emotional states. And thirdly, we're going to work on the area of visualization and imagery control. This is a very exciting area, an area that we're learning has a fundamental role in controlling feeling states and energizing and enabling a player to perform at whatever level that they're capable of in critical situations. That's it. Inhale as the ball comes to you. A nice long exhalation.
What is the difference between a grunt? Why wouldn't a grunt be just as good?
Well, we found that the longer the exhalation, the more relaxation is produced. And the player, when they get tight and nervous, their breathing changes. They start to inhale at contact point. They hold their breath, and as a result, they lose that feeling of looseness.
I see.
They start entering what we call a biological alarm in some cases, and the breathing can help reverse that. So both on serve return, we'd also want to see it on volleys, ground strokes, as much of a rhythm with his breathing as he possibly can. I want to show Eddie for just a minute. If you hold it here, Eddie, come up, and I'd like to demonstrate the breathing technique that I would like for you to practice between points, all right? I want you to put your hand on your stomach, and I want you to, as you inhale, I want your stomach to distend, to go out, okay? So inhale. And then I want you to bring the air, once your stomach is extended, I want you to bring the air all the way up into the highest area of your lung, all the way up, and then let your shoulders drop. So you're actually going to bring and fill the lower lung area, the upper lung area, clear to the top, and then relax. That's what we call a diaphragmatic breath, as opposed to a thoracic breath. And when we start getting under pressure, our breathing becomes very shallow, very jerky, and very irregular. What I want Eddie to begin to do is, part of his ritual before serving and serve return, he will take a deep diaphragmatic breath just prior to starting the point. And he'll get into the habit of doing that, particularly in pressure or tough situations. Always at least one deep diaphragmatic breath. Okay? Okay.
Guy with diabetes could do that nicely, eh? They always have diaphragmatic breaths.
Okay. All right, now we're going to work a little bit on muscle tension with Eddie. Eddie, I want you to start hitting some balls, and I want you to go ahead, and I want you to start feeling tight. I want you to tighten, to contract the muscles of your arms and hands a little bit. Make them fairly tight as you're hitting balls for me. And I want you to tune into how that feels. Feel the muscles in a contracted and a fairly tight state. Tune into how your hands feel, your legs feel. Notice how it affects your balance, your breathing.
He looks more jerky right away, doesn't he?
You'll see that this is what he will look like oftentimes when he's playing under pressure and the pressure starts to get to him. His short strokes, the balls fall shallow in the court. All right, now I want you to get very relaxed, Eddie. I want you to see if you can make your muscles more relaxed. Really, really loose. Tune into the muscles in your arms and your hands. And I want you to focus on relaxing those muscles, okay?
Do you want him to exaggerate, or?
Yeah, exaggerate the relaxation. Almost become limp, your whole body. Very, very limp. Very, very effortless, okay? Extremely, extremely relaxed. This is something that we see in players a lot. They tend to associate muscle relaxation with no energy. the players get very loose and limp, you don't see much fire. And this is what's just happened to Eddie. I would want Eddie to work until he can get very relaxed physically and then gradually increase his intensity so he looks alive on the outside but still very relaxed. The word intensity is, unfortunately, probably a bad word because it has the word tense in it.
Yeah.
Really what we're trying to do is to raise the highest levels of energy and at the same time stay very relaxed and loose. All right, now, Eddie, I want you to pick up your energy level. Invest more energy but stay relaxed and loose in your muscles. Very efficient in your movement. Stay very relaxed, but lots of energy. Lots of energy. I want to see the intensity. In order to play your best tennis, you must have high intensity.
What you're really saying is relax your strokes and be intent on what you're doing.
Exactly.
All right.
Lots of energy. Notice now he's breathing. He's in synchrony with his movements, with his breathing, with his balance. Okay? It's interesting that in actual match play situations, players are only hitting balls about 20% of the time. The rest of the time, they're changing sides, they are walking, they're waiting to return serve and to serve. We very rarely train in that 70% of the time. We spend all of our time in that 20%, yet we know that that 70% of the time is critical in terms of what the player is doing in the 20%. And so what we're going to do is to help Eddie with this focusing between points because that will help him in points. All right, Eddie, if you would stop for a minute, and I want you to begin to block out as much as you possibly can between points. And I'm going to ask you to do that by simply repeating to yourself silently, only the ball, only the ball. And I'm going to ask you between points to control your eyes. I don't want your eyes looking anywhere except on the strings, down at the ground, or on your opponent. I don't want your eyes moving around because that's distracting both emotionally and in terms of your mental focus. So we're going to have you keep your head, your eyes very controlled, and I'm going to ask you to, as best you can, between points, repeat to yourself only the ball silently. As soon as you get ready to return serve or serve, everything goes quiet, and you just play the point, just as normal. But between points, only the ball. Okay? So as long as the point is going on, Eddie plays it normally. His breathing is good. He looks very relaxed. Okay, it's now that Eddie begins to pronounce to himself, only the ball, only the ball. He's trying to keep himself very mentally on track. So he's not thinking about, oh, why did I miss that shot? What's the matter with me? Why can't I win? The pressure is so overwhelming out here. It really eliminates all that negative self-talk that gets players into so much trouble. The thing I'm looking for is intensity, high energy, but relaxation, calmness, and a lot of personal investment in each point. I want Eddie to be giving 100% on every single point. And as soon as the point's over, it's history. He's right back to the present and 100% emotionally into the next point.
That's an interesting comment you made there. You know, the players who play Borg, they say that what made him so tough was this concentration on every point, that he never gave you a free point. And you're trying to epitomize it here with Eddie.
Exactly. It's interesting that if you make every single point important, then no point has more pressure than any other point. And so I want a player to learn that every point is the most important point of a match. They're all played the same, basically. Rather than just getting up to the line and returning serve, Eddie, I want you to get up there and make sure that you're nice and relaxed, you've taken your breath, and part of that ritual will be to trigger an image of what you would like to do on this particular point, and to see it as clearly as you possibly can. So let's take a look at Eddie's ritual.
What you're saying is he should imagine where he's going to hit the ball and see what he intends to do with the ball. Visualize what he intends to do with the ball. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
And each time before the point, he clears his computer and he goes through his readying routine, which is his ritual physically and psychologically that gets him absolutely ready to play the point. And he's not to play the point until he is 100% ready emotionally. Okay, the same thing is true with Eddie's serve ritual. Let's take a look at Eddie's serve ritual. The serve ritual is very, very important. Now, that was not enough of a ritual in a match play situation. Now we're going to take a look at Eddie's ritual that I would like to see with the player. Eddie now is showing the kind of rhythm, the kind of time that I would like to see with the player, rather than just walking up all of a sudden and serving. And that happens to a lot of players under pressure. They start going too fast. The key is to do things slowly, to do things very calmly, and then during the points, put everything you possibly can into the points. Now Eddie is trying to relax. He's trying to get calm. He's trying to get himself absolutely ready to play the next point. He's clearing out all the stuff from the past. He's not worried about the future. He's playing every single point, moment by moment. That's the focus I want him to have.
Is he also now visualizing where he intends to serve the ball?
Part of his ritual is clearly to where he wants the ball to go. I want him to feel what it's like to serve it there. He may even visualize his first volley. If he's going to come in and volley, he may actually picture where he wants it to go and what it feels like in his muscles when he hits his absolute best volley. You could hear his breath at contact point. Another critical area is how players manage mistakes. This is one of the big downfalls of so many players. I would want a player, if they're having problems in this area, to very quickly, as soon as the error is committed, to almost like replay their computer and to go back and to reprogram the point, but this time have the feeling that you would have if you'd hit it absolutely perfect. In other words, to see the point being played perfectly, it only takes a few seconds. Feel what it was like if you'd hit it perfectly, and then move right on into the next point. The speed with which a player can clear their computer of mistakes will strengthen their competitive success very, very quickly. Okay, Eddie. These are the kinds of areas I want you to work just as hard in as you do with the areas that Dennis is working with you in stroke production, in your physical conditioning and training. I want you to train just as hard in the mental area, in the things that we worked on here today. I want you to work with your court presence. I want you to develop a very strong, powerful image as a competitor and project exactly the feelings that you want to experience on the inside, particularly in crisis. I want you to work on your breathing and come to understand how your breathing affects your ability to control how you feel. I want you to work on your muscle relaxation, on learning how to control muscle tension so that you are relaxed and loose, and you do that by contrasting tightness with looseness, tightness with looseness, in practice, in drill work, and in match play. I want you also to work very hard on establishing an emotional balance as much of the time as you can, clearing out mistakes, working on your rituals. Those are all legitimate areas of training. But if I had one assignment that I would give you, that I would have you work hardest on, would be to control how you're thinking in a very specific situation, and that is crisis. If I can get you to think about crisis, not in the context of, oh, why me? Why am I going through all this? Why do I have to play this person? It's windy, it's this or it's that. When your back's against the wall, when the world is against you, when you're not playing well and everything seems to be wrong and nothing's right, I want you to say internally, I want you to think, I love it. If you can respond to I love it, you'll keep the positive energy flowing. Tennis will continue to be fun for you, and you will be a competitive success. That is the key to a great competitor. The feeling inside of I love it. Okay?
It sounds great, Jimmy. If you told me all this stuff, you see, 30 years ago, I would have been a Wimbledon champion. I would now be retired, lying in the sun in Monte Carlo. Would have been wonderful, you see. Belatedly, I know all this stuff. I want to thank you very much. It has been most informative.
Thank you, Dennis. I hope it was helpful.
So in this tape, I showed you especially strokes, topspin lob, the drop shot, the half volley, and all the strokes you need to play effective tennis. But then you must use them tactically in a sound manner. So in singles tactics, I showed you when to recognize defense, when to recognize attack, to understand percentage tennis. And in doubles, I emphasize for you that doubles is played from the net. To be a good doubles player, you must play attacking doubles.